on 2K Sports. Welcome, fans. Friday Hoops Fest coming up next. It's the San Antonio Spurs going up against the Miami Heat. And now time for Kevin Harlan. We'll get you out.
Miami, Florida. A quick check now at the starting lineups for both teams. First for San Antonio. Parker and Danny Green are your 1 and your 2. And in the middle, out of Brazil, taken with the 28th pick back in 2008, the 6'11" pivot man, Thiago Splitter. Then there's Kawhi Leonard, and it's Duncan in at the 4 spot. And for Miami, Chalmers and D-Wade are the guards. And playing at the 5, the always versatile 6'11" star big man, able to score inside and out, Chris Bosh.
Oh, man, that was unreal.
Mark it up.
Putting on a show for these people.
I cannot believe he pulled that one out in the course of an actual game. Are you kidding me?
Oh, man. Might as well flaunt it if you got it, Clark.
You know, the more you watch Kawhi Leonard play, the more you realize that he is the perfect fit for the Spurs. I mean, he just looks like a Spur. He's only been in the league a couple of years. Plays great defense, shoots from deep at a high rate. He really knows, accepts, and embraces his role on the team.
Man defense. Right now we're going to go to Doris Burke, who spoke with head coach Eric Spoelstra. What'd you find out, Doris?
They'll be facing one of the best post players ever to play the game in Tim Duncan. Coach told me that even though Timmy isn't as physically gifted as he once was, he is still a handful to deal with. He said a lot of people forget this, but Tim Duncan is one of the smartest players to ever play and always makes the right decision. We can't be lazy around him.
And thanks for that story, Doris. Gets it to go. Duncan's got his first bucket of the night. And back to Kawhi Leonard. Coach Popovich sees him as their defensive stopper on the wing. But not just that. He thinks he's going to be a star in so many ways.
Well, he could become the face of the franchise, Kevin, if you think about it, once Tim Duncan and Parker and Ginobili move on. But, you know, Popovich, not one prone to hyperbole, but he absolutely loves this kid.
Green dishes to Parker. And the foul on Dwayne Wade. That's his first foul.
First team.
And Duncan gets double teamed. Parker. That drops.
4 makes on 4 tries. Everything's falling early. 100%. Can't do better than that.
And here comes Chalmers.
Guys, you go back to the shortened season a year before last, and the Spurs were the best team on the road. But last year, they weren't nearly as dominant on the road. Still solid when leaving San Antonio, but far from the level they played at a couple of seasons ago.
Well, he's so good at recognizing where the openings are and getting the ball to the rim.
And Miami calls their first time out of the game. And for the Spurs on the road last season, they would still win 23 games in hostile territory. And while that is more than the 22, Steve, they won in the shortened season, they also lost a fair amount more as well.
Well, for the Spurs, Kevin, I think they did what they needed to do. You know, the Spurs manage the regular season. They know when to turn it on and when they can maybe relax a little bit. But the big thing is they just want to stay near 500 on the road, protect their home court, and be healthy going into the playoffs, and that puts them in a good position.
Catching up on the changes with Miami. Chris Anderson has checked in for Bosh. And Shane Battier subbed in for Udonis Haslem. And it's the Spurs ball. Stringing it together. They've got an 11-2 run going. Here's Parker. No good on the shot. A bit long that time. The Heat trail by 9. To the middle. And a foul on the shot. He'll go to the stripe for 2.
Talking about Chris Anderson, guys, the Birdman. We weren't sure if he was going to be able to fly last season, but he did latch on with a very good Miami Heat team who was in need of some help rebounding, which is his strength. He still can do that and block shots as well.
That one is off. And the Birdman, a fan favorite from his days in Denver. The tattoos, his kinetic style of play, certainly drawing attention.
Well, he's an athletic presence inside at both ends of the floor. Defensively, he can slide his feet and block shots. And offensively, He's a guy who kind of hangs out on the weak side and finishes plays by catching and dunking.
Only 3 teams in the entire Eastern Conference had a better than 500 record against the West, and no surprise the Heat were one of those 3, and they were dominant against Western Conference opponents all year long.
Shot clock at 6. Leonard attacking. And there's the whistle. Fouled hard on the shot. He'll go to the line. That's on Chris Anderson. Mark, adding on to what you were saying about the Heat versus the West, they ended up 25-5, which is incredible, Steve, given how many tough teams that are in the Western Conference.
That's amazing, Kevin. They had a better record against the West than they did against the East in terms of their winning percentage. So I think that speaks to just how motivated Miami was when they went out on the road to the West in particular to really show everybody how good they were.
Battier, Wade, guarded by Green. LeBron, that's a 2-pointer. That falls. Nice speed that time from Dwayne Wade.
He's so reliable. You know, his offense seems to be consistently there for this team.
Parker passes to Leonard. Dishes it to Green. Parker outside. Somehow ignores the tight D and gets the layup. Parker's got 6.
Well, the number one priority for a defense when you face this guy is to keep him getting anywhere from the basket because he's just so strong as a finisher.
And let's give him some more credit where more credit is due for his role as a team leader. I mean, he's somebody who brings out the best in his teammates whenever he's on the floor.
A different look now for San Antonio. Matt Bonner, he's checked in for Splitter. And Boris Diaw is subbed for Tim Duncan. Parker outside. Into Diaw. And it's out of bounds. The Heat will take it the other way. Here's LeBron. 1:51 left to play in the first quarter. Battier kicks to LeBron. Hangs in midair and converts on the double clutch layup. LeBron's got 6. San Antonio with the ball. They're on a 15-6 run. And stolen by LeBron. And Cole kicks to Allen. He feeds it to Battier, and it's going to be out of bounds. The Spurs will take it. And Miami making a change here. Bosch is checked in. San Antonio leading by 9. Back to Ginobili. Inside. Here's Bonner. That falls. Nice feed that time for Manu Ginobili. Bonner's got his first bucket in this one.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it. They keep getting in the paint and keep scoring points. Keep it going.
Yeah, not a lot you can do defensively when they continue to get the ball inside and get these easy shots.
And 1:01 left to play in the first. Pass to Parker. Parker left side. Kicks it to Bellinelli. Out of bounds. Miami takes possession.
Way too loose on that inbounds pass.
There's 49 seconds left to play here in the first. It's Battier on the wing. Diaw with the steal. And here comes Bellinelli leading the fast break. And he finished it off with a lay-in.
That makes it 10 of their last 12 points coming from inside the painted area.
Yep, that's something that the defense has to put a stop to. Maybe a defensive adjustment is necessary here.
He kicks to Ginobili. Feeds to Bellinelli. Fires for 3. And again, it's San Antonio with a 3.
They're allowing a sky-high field goal percentage. That won't get it.
Not at all. They've been able to score with ease.
Here's Bosch. They need this. He takes it up and lays it in. Bosch has got his first points of the night.
Giving them an opportunity at second chance points with some hard work on the glass there.
To the paint, here's Bonner. Smooth as silk on the finger roll.
What a start they've gotten off to. A big lead for them, and we're not even out of the first quarter yet.
And it's not just their hot offense here. I mean, they're playing very strong defense too, guys.
And an overpowering first quarter effort. Already a double-digit advantage. Spurs lead by 16. Back after this from the American Airlines Arena. Well, not exactly a close game so far, but as the second quarter starts here, plenty of time for a comeback. And what's your take, guys, on the hustle stats for San Antonio?
They've come out in attack mode defensively, applying pressure and stealing the ball repeatedly.
They've gotten their fair share of points off turnovers so far tonight, too.
Allen, that's good.
D there, guys, was pretty much non-existent. I mean, you can't leave a good shooter like that open.
Well, Miami stormed through the regular season and were viewed as the clear-cut favorites to come out of the East, but it was not as easy as expected. After sweeping Milwaukee, the Bulls gave them a scare. Then the Pacers really took them deep all the way to Game 7 of the Eastern Conference Finals.
Okay, well, let's check in with Doris Burke reporting from our sideline in this game. Doris, take it away.
Guys, it's hard to doubt that LeBron James, after 2 straight titles and 4 MVPs in the last 5 years, seems to be at the top of his game. LeBron candidly said, quote, "I'm at my highest peak. I don't know if I can continue to improve." But he certainly remains motivated, saying, quote, "At the end of the day, I have a goal to be the best of all time, and I'm going to put that pressure on myself." And Kevin, if he can just stay at this level for a long period of time, he may get there.
I like his chances. Thanks. And Parker drops them both. And for the Heat, the Pacers were their first real test, it seemed, and they had to survive a win or go home against them. It almost seemed Clark to take away any momentum they might have had when they went up against the Spurs in the finals.
You know, it's interesting. When I think of momentum in the playoffs, it doesn't carry over from game to game or series to series. I think each game, Kevin, is really an entity in and of itself. That said, Miami found a way, despite being pushed by the Pacers and being pushed by the Spurs, both to Game 7. It came down to LeBron James's brilliance, but also the hot shooting of a complimentary role-playing winner, Shane Battier.
Ginobili with the 3. Offensive rebound. Here's Diaw. He's good with the little jumper in close. Diaw's got his first points of the game.
It's a +5 advantage for them in the rebounding category after that board.
Very steady work they've been doing on the interior, no question. And that's, I think, the main reason they have this lead.
A different look now for San Antonio. Splitters checked in for Matt Bonner. Duncan comes in for Boris Diaw. And Kawhi Leonard subbed in for Bellinelli.
Boris Diaw from France, really a unique player. I mean, he came into the league, guys, as more of a playmaking small forward. Now he plays at the power forward spot. He's still much more of a passer than he is a scorer.
Daniel Green, he's checked in for Manu Ginobili. We're now about 2 minutes into the second quarter. Parker with it. Now defended by Cole. And he drops in the layup off the glass. And the Spurs lead by 17. And Clark, you mentioned Diaw's skill level. Not the biggest or most athletic guy, but, you know, Steve, he's still effective.
He's really a great basketball player. What I mean by that, just he knows angles, he knows how to use his body to create passes and shots for himself. And defensively, he's very effective, particularly guarding the post because of his strength.
And Bosch backs down, and it goes as the official calls the foul. Count it. He'll shoot one more at the free throw line.
He can finish in the post. That's one thing we know about him.
And this is his first trip to the line tonight. That one misses for Bosch.
And what an amazing run it was for the Spurs last year in the postseason. Swept the Lakers, survived Golden State, and then dismantled Memphis on their way to the NBA Finals. And then, of course, were seconds away from another championship banner.
And here in the second quarter of action with a hair under 2.5 minutes played so far. Leonard, the open look. Here's Splitter, and that's good. A nice job on the glass as they pick up 2 on the second effort.
They have repeatedly probed inside in the first half, guys, and it's paid dividends.
Yeah, it sure has, Clark. I mean, with as many points as they've gotten in the paint, they really haven't had to do much on the perimeter.
Well, getting back to the Spurs, they look better and better as they went deeper into the playoffs, Clark. Heat were thought to be the heavy favorites at the start of the NBA postseason. But when they met in the finals, thoughts on who would win, I think, were pretty much split.
Yeah, and eventually, you know, this was one heck of a series because the Spurs not only had experience and talent, but they had multiple options offensively and did such a terrific job sharing the ball. They took the Miami Heat to the limit, but at the end of the day, it came down to LeBron James and Dwayne Wade rising to the challenge.
The Heat trail by 17. There's the dish to Cole. Gives him the lead pass. And Chris Bosh with the slam. I like that they're taking it inside and taking advantage of each opportunity, Clark, to chip away at the deficit.
Yeah, and doing it with the dunk is a major energizer, too. Gets the momentum going.
Yeah, and I think the interior defense, as good a job offensively as we saw, the defensive presence was almost non-existent. They may see this lead disappear if they continue to give up those easy points.
Dwayne Wade's checked in for the Heat. Chalmers comes in for Norris Cole.
I like the way they got the ball inside there.
Heat have gone 5 of 8 from the floor here in the second quarter. Over 60% shooting. And Doris Burke has a report for us from the sideline.
Well, gentlemen, head coach Eric Spoelstra of the Miami Heat finally getting the respect he deserves now with their multiple championships. But his players, not afraid to rib him a little. Dwayne Wade said Spoelstra's favorite word, focus. He said, here's what it sounds like to play for my coach. Come on, guys, we have to focus. Next game. Come on, guys, it's about focus. Game 82. Guys, it's about focus. Kevin, it's all about that consistent message, right?
A steady hand, Doris. The players seem to really appreciate him. And the Heat with some changes. Chris Anderson has checked in for Bosh. And it's Haslam in for Ray Allen. Spurs leading by 19 points.
Well, I tell you what, Greg Popovich, a really impressive leader for the Spurs. He's able to keep all of his players locked into what's best for the team. Has a military background, played basketball and studied at the Air Force Academy before serving 5 years in the Air Force. And you know some of the leadership that he brings to his position was learned from his past experiences.
And Kevin, he's really solidified his role as the closer on this team. You know, Miami struggled to figure out whether they'd go to LeBron or Bosh or Wade at first. I think Wade has become the guy.
Well, I tell you what, it's nice to have two guys that are capable of closing, Steve. And I agree with you, though. His aggressiveness and confidence probably give him a slight edge in closing over LeBron. You can play great defense on him, but he still typically finds a way to get the shot he wants.
And Clark, you mentioned Pop's time at the Air Force Academy. That's where he got his start in the coaching ranks.
Yeah, 6 years as an assistant there. He's head coach at Pomona, an assistant coach with the Golden State Warriors and the Spurs, and eventually moved into the front office in San Antonio. But wow, what an amazing run it's been for him. 17 years as the head coach of the Spurs.
Haslam dishes to Wade. Oh, trying for it. And that's out of bounds. Miami will retain possession.
16 seconds on the shot clock. 16.
Allen against Leonard. Allen kicks to Wade. From beyond the arc.
Well, this is painful to watch. He can't get one to go down. Really having trouble finding his game here in this half.
And it's Green with the jam. Absolutely, Clark. No one in his airspace on that dunk.
Yeah, but come on, Kevin. The defense can't let that happen.
I hope they let it happen more. It's fun to watch that guy fly.
Just a gift, 2 points they gave up. That's awful.
Haslam. They shoot again, and he sinks the layup.
He didn't get off to much of a start early on, but he seems to have shaken off the rust here in the quarter.
Parker passes to Leonard. He dishes it to Splitter. Parker outside. The feed to Duncan. 5 to shoot. The finger roll finish at the bucket. Duncan's got 6. 6 seconds left here in the second. And here's Chalmers from the arc. No what?
All game long, guys, he's been getting it done. Really doing a nice job rebounding.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. I mean, they've had a major advantage on the glass, dominating that stat.
And through one half, it hasn't even been close. Spurs out in front, up 19. And coming up after the break, it'll be Damon Bruce breaking down all the highlights from the first half of play.
And now, brought to you by Sprint.
And it's halftime on 2K Sports. Keep it right here as we break down the first half. San Antonio on top against the Heat over at American Airlines Arena. Textbook defense play on their part. You couldn't draw it up any better. Kawhi Leonard having no trouble against the Heat defense. He's got 7 points and is also sharing the ball, picking up assists as well.
The Sprint Halftime Report, presented by